Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Yes, good morning, people. How are we doing? Hope you're all well. Big up to all of you that are here nice and early in the chat, live, listening. And big up to everybody that's catching up later this afternoon or this morning or this evening. Big up to everyone wherever you are around the world. Make sure you do me a favor and hit a like on this, please. And make sure that you are subscribed. We hit 22,000 subscribers overnight. Thank you to every single one of you. Let's now get to 23 as quickly as possible as we move towards our bigger target, which is, of course, 30K. So thank you all for who tuned into last night's show. Absolutely brilliant show last night with all Arsenal news from Fabrizio Romano right the way through to all of the other journalists that you listen to and find either reliable or unreliable, I suppose. So please make sure you check that one out, as many of you did. We're back this morning with all things transfers, as we always will be Monday to Friday, 8:30 in the morning. We have got a lot to go through, so please make sure you do me a favor and show your appreciation by hitting the like button and subscribing. They're two buttons that are free and they mean so much, so please make sure that you're doing that. Good morning to everybody in the chat room. Good morning to Chazza. I hope you're well, my bro. Good to see you with us again. Good morning to Louis. Good morning to Mustafa, Chris, Fizzy, good morning to Mum, and thank you for the massive congratulations. Libax, Ebby, Aaron, Adam, and everybody else. Oh, Emerson as well. He was here. First of all, big up to all of you. Make sure you do me a favor. I need you to click on the pinned comment and go to manscaped.com. You go to Beard and Face and Beard Hedger. Add that to your cart. You will get 20% off automatically using the link in the comment section here. So please make sure that you do that, people, because they are doing a fantastic deal at the moment and it won't be there forever. So 20% off of Manscaped on the Beard Hedger. Please make sure that you go and get one of those and support our sponsors. Got Arsenal talk this morning, but we have got Manchester United talk, Liverpool talk, we've got Chelsea talk, we've also got Aston Villa, West Ham. We've got quite a few at the moment that we're going to be talking about. So let's make sure that we get locked in. Big up to all of you. Thanks, Fizzy, for the congratulations to 22. Road to 23. That is what we're on now. Let's make sure that we can get there, people. All you got to do is click subscribe, hit the like button, and we're on our way. So make sure that you do that, please. Let's get into it. There's going to be a lot today. There's going to be quite a lot of Arsenal talk in the end of the show. But we are going to start with Manchester United. Manchester United are probably at the moment the busiest club when it comes to transfers in terms of outgoings, but also in terms of incomings. And it looks like they've got an outgoing. We've spoken about this guy for a while now, but Jadon Sancho, it looks like he's on his way to PSG. Apparently, according to Sports Zone over in France, PSG have an agreement in the principle with the 24-year-old, but they must meet Manchester United's asking price. And that asking price is thought to be up to £50 million. Now, it wasn't long ago we were talking about it being 40 million. I think they've realised that that is actually a steal for a player of 24 who's got unbelievable potential and has done very well in Germany. So I think they've tried to hit it up to 50. Look, if they get 40 to 45 million, they're going to end up getting him, aren't they? So let's see if they will go that far. I think he's a talent. I've always said that I think there's something there, but something's not quite right at Manchester United for him not to be able to settle there. For him to go in the same season to Dortmund and do well, it proves it isn't the player. It proves it was definitely the surroundings. So for me, there's definitely a player there. And I think if PSG were to get him, I think he'd do very well there, I must say. But Manchester United are not just looking at how much money they can get. They're also looking at who can come the other way in a potential swap deal. And there is, of course, 3 players that they are interested in. Now, one of them is one that they've been interested in for a while and have been green lighted to get. And that is, of course, Ugarte over at PSG. This would be a very good signing for Manchester United. He's a player that I rate in a holding midfield role. I think with Kobbie Mainoo, him and Bruno Fernandes would be a very, very good midfield. So one that I think they need to try and get done. Even if they can't get it done as a potential swap deal, it's definitely something that they should be looking at. They're also looking at fullbacks themselves. And obviously, there's some defenders at PSG that they're interested in. One of those defenders is the old Inter Milan centre-half Skriniar. I think that would be a good move for Manchester United. However, how many defenders do Manchester United want? Now, Skriniar, I think, can play fullback as well as centre-back, but he is a player who's very experienced now. I didn't actually know how long he'd been over at PSG, but he was definitely known for being over at Inter Milan and doing well. So that's one of the options. And the other option, I actually did rate him when he was at Leipzig. That is Mukiele. Now, Mukiele is definitely a player that I looked at when we were linked with fullbacks a while ago. I still felt that we needed a fullback. Only was it last season before, when we were looking at Timber. And I thought that I don't know if you call it Mukiele or Mukiele, but I always looked at him and thought he was a good player. So let's see where we're at with that one. I think Manchester United, however, do want a fullback, and the player that it looks like they're going to get is Mazraoui. Now, Mazraoui is a player that he's been linked with for a long, long time now. And it looks as if Manchester United, according to The Guardian, have agreed a fee of between 15 and 20 million pounds to sign the Moroccan right back. And Bayern Munich would like to offload some players first. And that sounds like it could be the one that's going to be leaving. So Mazraoui is a player that was very, very highly rated. He's not gone on to work wonders, I don't think, but Manchester United believe that he is the fullback that they want. And Man United have already got Dalot, they've already got Wan-Bissaka, and that means that they're going to have to offload first. So it looks as if this is the guy that they're going to try to get rid of. And at the moment, it looks like West Ham are the favourites. Sky Sports News reporting that West Ham have opened negotiations over a deal for Wan-Bissaka. They value the 26-year-old in excess of £15 million. So I think they're basically saying, give us 15 million or so. You can have Wan-Bissaka. We'll then go in for Mazraoui and we'll get him. So it looks like Manchester United are interested in Mazraoui and West Ham interested in Wan-Bissaka. This would be a good move for West Ham, I must say. He's a one-on-one defender that I think is one of the best. When it comes to offensive, not so good. And that's, I think, why Manchester United want to try and upgrade on him. So I think that could be an interesting one. So let's see. I think it might be that bids get rejected, that Mazraoui is rejected, that Wan-Bissaka gets rejected. I think there's too much rumour in this not to happen both ways. So I expect Mazraoui to be a Manchester United player this transfer window, and I expect Wan-Bissaka to be a West Ham player this summer window. Just when is it going to get done, I suppose, is the question. Sticking with Manchester United, it looks like they are interested again in bringing in Amrabat for a similar period that they got him for this season, which is, of course, a loan. Now, I don't think he was fantastic for Manchester United. I certainly don't think he was a shambles of a signing, but he was in parts not a very impressive one. Now, I was very, very impressed with his performance in the World Cup. I was even more impressed with his performances for Fiorentina. And when Manchester United got him, I thought, yeah, this one makes sense. They need a midfielder. He's going to come in with some form of experience. He's played for club and country now. Well, what's he going to do at Manchester United? And it didn't work. Now, under a different structure, would it work differently? I'm not too sure, to be honest. But I will say that I think Manchester United need midfielders. And if they're going to have him on top of potentially Kobe Mainu, Ugarte, who they're looking at, and Bruno Fernandes, they're obvious, and Mason Mount as well, who we forget about. They're obviously looking to bolster that and have some strength in depth. So this one could happen again. I don't know if it's going to be a potential loan with an obligation this time or an option this time, but certainly if they were interested, Manchester United, I think they could get him. Fiorentina were happy to see him go, which is a strange one, really, because he played well for Fiorentina. So, yeah, I can see if they want this one happening again, then potentially they will look into it. One player that no longer plays for Manchester United, but was well known over the years for playing for them, looks like he's on his way to another club, and that is David De Gea. Apparently, Genoa are still pushing for a deal with David De Gea, who is 33 years old, which is still fairly young for a goalkeeper. He's not played football since leaving Manchester United last season. That's come from Football Italia. Apparently, the salary expectations are proven to be a stumbling block in the negotiations. Now, I always said that this was a good goalkeeper, but it was not a modern day goalkeeper. And I think a lot of clubs have realised that. I don't think people want to take a punt on David De Gea because they feel like perhaps his best days are behind him. I understand that, but at 33 years old, he's got a lot to offer still. I would be surprised if a team like Como from Fabregas's new team, who's just signed Varane, don't look at him. They're looking at Pepe Reina as he's now 41, I believe. So maybe De Gea would be a good option for there, but I personally can't see him going to a football club on the wages he's asking for. I mean, he was at 375k a week at Manchester United, wasn't he? He's not going to get anywhere near that. He'd be lucky to get 100k a week, if I'm honest, at the moment, which I believe is why there's a stumbling block. Now, I actually said that I would be interested in looking at David De Gea as a backup option at Arsenal, and a lot of people poo-pooed it. I think he'd be a great backup option, but not for 300 grand a week. Absolutely crazy. Kasper Schmeichel was another one that I thought we could look at, but he's gone to Celtic, or is going to Celtic. For me, that's a no-brainer as well. Those are the sort of signings I think Arsenal should have in his experienced backup goalkeeper instead of these young kids that are massive pressure when the gloves come to them. So for me, a Kasper Schmeichel, David De Gea, Wojciech Szczesny type signing would have been one that I would have looked at. But there we go. That's what I believe. Let's move to Liverpool now, shall we? Because they have had a bid rejected for one of their midfielders from Marseille for just under £12 million. And it is Endo, who I actually thought had a very good season for Liverpool last season. I thought he was one that I looked at and thought, do you know what? You've been one of the signings of the summer for an absolute steal. And for the fact they could have paid nearly 3 times as much for both Lavia and then 4 or 5 times as much for Caicedo. This was a very good signing for Liverpool. So there's no wonder that he is being or attracting interest from other sides. Obviously, they've got De Zerbi now. Marseille are looking at a few players, and Endo is one of them. Now, will he leave Liverpool? I don't think he will, unless, of course, the right money comes in. And I don't think 12 million is going to do that. Liverpool definitely do, however, though, need another holding midfielder. And I thought they should have gone all out to try and get Paulinho. I really thought that would have been a perfect signing for Liverpool. And it would have been a signing that I thought would have been able to take them towards a title push, which is what I think they should be trying to aim to do this season. I think a centre-half, a defensive midfielder, and a proper 9 takes Liverpool to the title. Because they don't really, other than Jota, have a killer in the box, and Jota can play on the wing. They don't really have a holding midfielder other than Endo, and they don't really have a centre-back that can take over from long-term from Van Dijk. I think if they were to do that and get those 3 positions sorted, then all they'd have to do is replace players that left. So, for example, if Luis Diaz was going, then they might replace another left winger. But for me, I can't believe Liverpool have not signed many players now. I mean, I know that no one's gone and signed 5 or 6 yet, but Liverpool are the ones that need to look at the direction that they want to take with Arne Slot. And they haven't made any signings yet. It's been very, very quiet. And rumours, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold potentially leaving, going to Real Madrid. That's gone quiet. Looks like he's going to commit his future now to Liverpool, which is great news for them. So for me, I think Liverpool need to get moving in the window, because if they keep the squad they've got, they certainly aren't going to be going for the title, in my opinion. That is for sure. Let's take a look at Aston Villa, shall we? Because apparently they want this player. Calvin Phillips. There is reports this morning suggesting that Aston Villa have submitted a loan offer for Manchester City's 28-year-old Calvin Phillips. Now, we know that Calvin Phillips has not been able to settle really since he left Leeds. Had the first season at Man City where, of course, he went from Leeds and was picked by Gareth Southgate in that famous Euros. He was brilliant alongside Declan Rice for England, but since then has not been able to hold down a first-team place. And I've likened this transfer to Jack Rodwell from years ago, where it just completely and utterly ruined his career. And I kind of feel like Calvin Phillips needs to start again. Aston Villa would actually be a really good move for him. Now, I don't know how much first-team football he would play, because they've obviously got Kamara, who's there as well, but he's actually injured till around about November to December time. So this one could be an opportunity for Calvin Phillips to slot in and get some first-team football. However, they have just signed Onana, who plays there as well. So how many midfielders do Aston Villa actually need? If they got Calvin Phillips on loan, I mean, wow. It could be that you look at the opportunity for some game time, but how much is he going to get with Onana and Phillips and Ramsey and McGinn and Barkley now and Buendia coming back? Wow. Tielemans, they've got so many, 7 or 8 players in that Aston Villa midfield. How many games are they going to get? So, yeah, I think they need to look. I think if anyone wants midfielders, go to Aston Villa because they're going to have to get rid of a few. And one player they might have to look to get rid of is Jhon Duran. Now, West Ham are interested, but my goodness, it's going back and forward, back and forward, and back and forward. And West Ham at the moment are interested in him still, but I think Aston Villa are trying to push for 35 to 40 million, and West Ham are saying, well, he's only worth 30. I think they're pushing, or they're thinking about pushing to go into 32. I think Duran wants to leave, wants to be the number one striker at West Ham. West Ham look to be wanting him, but this one is not moving at the moment because neither club can come to an agreement. Now, I personally feel like it is a lot of money to ask for up to 40 million for Jhon Duran, who, let's be real, what has the Colombian striker played? About 15, 20 games for Villa, scored a couple of good goals. That's not enough, is it, to be saying you're 40 million pounds now? Now, the potential's there, but there's something wrong with his mentality, in my opinion. Why would West Ham want to get rid of it? Sorry, Villa want to get rid of him if he's so good? He's the only striker behind Ollie Watkins that they've got. But apparently he wants to leave. Villa are happy to let him go. West Ham want to pay around 30 million and they want closer to 40. Is there going to be an agreement there? I'm not too sure. Sticking with West Ham, they have put in a bid for the player that I want, Youssouf Fofana. Now, luckily, AC Milan are getting involved in this and he has his heart set on the Italian giants over in Serie A. He does not want West Ham from what we read, but West Ham have actually offered a bid which is a hell of a lot more than that of AC Milan. So what will happen here? This would be a phenomenal signing for West Ham. Absolutely ridiculously good signing for West Ham if it was to happen. I think he's the perfect box-to-box midfielder. I've got a lot of time for what I see is in terms of his attributes. I think he will be an absolute talent for wherever he goes. And if Youssouf Fofana is to go to AC Milan, it's a great signing. If he goes to West Ham, oh my God, it would be a phenomenal signing. Now, apparently West Ham are looking towards 30 million, it says. Well, AC Milan, I think, have paid just under 20. So this one could be very interesting if you're a West Ham fan. I don't think he wants to go to West Ham, however. So it looks like he is favourites to go to AC Milan. But West Ham United are showing massive interest. And that would be a worry for me if they were to get him. He is a really good player. But I think he has his heart set on AC Milan. So I imagine it will go there. But fair play to West Ham for showing the ambition to try and get him, because that would be a fantastic signing for him. That's for sure. We're going to move on now to another story, which, of course, involves a Tottenham player, or a Tottenham right back, should I say. And that is... Where have I missed him now? Where is he? Whereabouts is he? No, my computer has stalled, people. Give me a second. No, it's not letting me. Why is it not letting me? Why is it not letting me? Knew this would happen. It's going to happen one day where the computer was stalling. No, it's not letting me. I have to move on to the next story. I don't know why that is. What's going on here? Here we go. Finally, Emerson Royal. Wow. How long did that take, people? Blimey. Emerson Royal is linked with AC Milan. So Fofana is looked to be linked with AC Milan, and they are also close to signing a deal, according to Romano, this is for the 25-year-old Brazilian defender Emerson Royal from Spurs. There we go. We got there in the end. My word. I don't know what was happening in my computer there. It completely froze. So apologies for that, people. But yeah, Emerson Royal looking to AC Milan. Look, I don't think he's an unbelievable player, if I'm honest. I've never been a huge fan of him. I've never thought he was top quality. I've never really looked at him and thought that he's going to take Tottenham anywhere. I think Pedro Porro is better. I don't think they'll miss him. I also believe that they should have given Jed Spence more of a chance, personally. But yeah, it looks now like Emerson Royal could be off to AC Milan, which I think would be a good bit of business all round. Big up to Igal. Morning, mate. Hope you're well. Make sure you go over to Igal Talks Football. Big up to Igal. Make sure that you are all subscribed to him. I'm sure we'll get Igal on this week and next week, and he's going to be one of our regulars moving forward on the Arsenal show that we're going to bring back on the Tuesday evening. So big up to Igal. Make sure you're all locked in and followed him also, please. Let's move to Arsenal then, shall we? Because there's quite a lot of Arsenal news. There's quite a lot of Arsenal news indeed. And first of all, we'll start with Calafiori. Finally, this guy has passed his medical. Finally, we're here with a hit. Well, I don't even know if we get a here we go anymore. It's just going to be announced now that he's been signed. He's going to head over to the States with the team. Maybe he'll feature as a debut in the preseason game on Thursday against Liverpool. Who knows? Should be able to get him trained by them. Should be able to get him fit by then. And I imagine he'll feature. So this would be really good to see. Everybody, all eyes are on Calafiori, the deal that I think will be a fantastic signing for Arsenal. I actually think this could be one of the signings of the summer. I really do. I think adding him to an already very strong defence could work wonders. And I was listening to a Sam yesterday saying that he thinks Arsenal could get as close as they can to the record set by Chelsea, which was 15 goals conceded. Wow, that's a big statement. If Arsenal can get close to that, I think we'll win the league. And they say that, don't they? That defence wins your leagues and strikers win your games. I honestly believe that we have one of the best defence in the world right now. So let's see where we go with Calafiori. The other player, of course, that is linked that I mentioned, brought to you last night from Fabrizio Romano, is Mikel Merino. Now, Merino, apparently, we are in advanced talks with him. This week, we're going to be speaking to the club and the player and the agents and reps, and we're trying to get something done here. Now, Real Sociedad have said that they would like a fee of around 20 to 25 million, which is not going to be a problem as far as Arsenal are concerned. I don't think anyway. I don't think the wages demands are going to be ridiculous. He's a player that a lot of people like. He's also a player that Mikel Arteta has followed and admired and likes. And Romano says as long as the Smith-Rowe deal goes through, which we'll touch on in a minute, it looks like this is the next one that Arsenal are looking at getting in the door. So this is not the only midfield target that we're looking at. Now, what does that mean? I said last night that could mean a couple of things. It could mean that Arsenal are going in for more than one midfielder. It could be that Arsenal are looking at more than one midfielder, but will only get one of them. So let's see. The other midfield option that has gone a little bit quiet over the last couple of days is Fabian Ruiz. That is a loan with obligation to buy from PSG, which I think would be a phenomenal signing. But a lot of people suggesting that we will only get one, not two. Now, we are looking at two, but maybe we're not looking at two in that similar profile. Now, Fabian Ruiz is definitely better on the ball. I think Merino is definitely more physically imposing. I don't know that we'll get both of them, but we are definitely linked with both of them. Merino, however, looks like he could be the one that is the favourite. Fabian Ruiz and him would both play in that 8. But do we want Declan Rice in that 8? Or do Arsenal go for more of a 6 and then a Merino or a Fabian Ruiz? But we're definitely linked with them both. So let's see if we get one of them or both of them or neither of them. So let's see. They're the ones we're linked with at the moment. And of course, Arsenal aren't just linked with midfielders. They're also linked and they're in pole position to sign Victor Gyokeres. Now, this has come from a few reports and sources, but one from Team Talk, lots over in Portugal and some over in England, suggesting that Arsenal are in pole position to sign the Swedish forward Victor Gyokeres from Sporting Lisbon. Liverpool are not prepared to submit a bid for the 26-year-old. He has a release clause, people, of 100 million euros, which works out at around about 84 million pounds. So would you go for Victor Gyokeres for that much money? Is 84 million pounds worth going for if you're Arsenal and you look at Victor Gyokeres? Is that a player that you believe should be someone that Arsenal are going for? I personally believe that we should go and sign Victor Gyokeres. The reason I think we should is because I'm done waiting for a number 9. Go and get your guy. If that's the one you think is an upgrade on Eddie Nketiah, Havertz and Jesus, go and do it. And do you know what? I happen to think that he is. Now, that might not mean that we go and get Isak next summer, but do you know what? Let's not worry about next summer. Let's worry about this summer. I think he's a top player. I've looked and thought, yeah, that's the sort that I want. I don't know if Arsenal are 100% set on this, but all I will say is that even if there's a murmuring that you might think he's a better player than Havertz or Jesus or Eddie, you've got to go and do it. You've got to maximise the window. And he is the best option at the moment. I think he's a better option than some of the other names that are thrown around. Personally, he's the one on form. For the last 2 seasons, he scored an unbelievable amount of goals. 58 goals and assists from 50 appearances for Sporting Lisbon. When you look at all the cup games and Europa League games and league games, that is absolute fire for a forward. So let's see if we can get something done. I think it'll have to be the release clause met. I don't think they're going to be accepting a bid of 60 million, 55 million. That's not going to happen. He is going to be, I believe, a minimum of 70 million. So I think if we go in with that, go up, and then if we have to meet the release clause of 84, then we meet the release clause of 84 and become a Arsenal player. That is Victor Gyokeres. One player that is still deciding his future at the moment is Nico Williams. There's a lot of reports suggesting that he has agreed terms with Barcelona, that Barcelona is the club that he wants. This is the player that Barcelona want, and I would be amazed now if this does not happen and he does not go through to Barcelona. There's a lot of reports suggesting that it's stalled. That does not mean it's stalled because he wants Arsenal. It probably means that it's stalling because of wages or agreements or whatever it be. But it sounds as if this one probably is going to work now and go to Barcelona. It would be a phenomenal signing. £49 million release clause can play on the left and the right. He would lit up the Premier League, in my opinion, and probably be one of the best signings that Arsenal could make this summer. But it doesn't look like Arsenal are in the pole position anymore. It sounds like Barcelona are there. And if I'm honest with you, I always thought Barcelona were going to be able to get this one across the line. I thought Barcelona were going to be able to get Nico Williams. There was rumours that they had to sell before they buy, and there still is rumours as to why it's stalling. They might not be able to afford it right now. But financially, Laporta's come out and said, yes, this is fine. It's no problem. We want to get players in. We're not skint. Finances is not a problem. Never is with Barcelona, is it? Every single season, summer, we have Barcelona saying they're skint. They're never skint. They always go and buy players. And Nico Williams is the guy that they want. So let's see. I believe he will go to Barcelona. So what does that mean for Arsenal? We need a winger, right? So who do we go and get? Because Reiss Nelson looks like he's leaving. There'll be more on that in a minute. Do we go and get this guy, which I think could be an absolute no-brainer? Versatile. Release clause can be activated for 60 million plus 8 with add-ons. Can play in the right wing, the left wing, can cover for Saka, can definitely play in the 10, cover for Erdegaard and be a Smith-Rowe replacement. He can come in and play in the left 8, which he's played for Aston Villa, for Crystal Palace before. This would be an absolute no-brainer for me. I think this would be one of the best signings Arsenal can make this summer. I really do. I feel personally like there's an opportunity for Eze to come to Arsenal. I know that he loves Arsenal. He left at 12 years old. He's in our academy. I think he could be a superb sign. Are we going to get him? I don't know. I really don't know. And it's one that I would absolutely love to see happen. I just don't think it's going to. Reports suggesting Williams has chosen to stay at Bilbao. I don't know how true that is, but big up for that, Kyle. I do like it when people throw in some of the latest. That really does help me. So thank you very much for that, mate. I think he's going to go Barcelona. I really don't think he's going to stay at Atletico. I don't know why he would stay there. He's going to be on the move, I believe. There's all rumours suggesting he's definitely going to be on the move. Maybe there's something that's stalled, but I accept that he's probably going to be off to Barcelona, which will be a shame because Williams is an absolute talent. And if he does stay at Athletic Club, fair play, if that's where he's happy. But it's definitely going to be on the cards that he's moving, in my opinion. So if we can't get Nico Williams and Eze's not a player that's available, then are we going to look towards this guy? There's been reports for a while now suggesting that this is a player that Arsenal do admire. Pedro Neto, Premier League proven, around 50 million, has injury problems, but when he's going to be a squad player, could he come on and off the bench to cover for Saka? And in other positions as well, by the way. I think this would be a phenomenal signing. I really like Pedro Neto and have for a while. For the last 3 seasons, I've been crying out for us to be going and getting him. Now that we're finally linked with him, I kind of want it to happen. I really, really like him. I think he's a top player. And he's one that I thought, even when he come on for Portugal in the Euros, I thought he was good. I thought he's probably been... Well, I think he was probably the Wolves' best player last season when he was playing. He was assisting, he was creating, he was scoring. On fantasy football, for all of you, the FPL fans, he was absolutely flying at the start of the season. I think he is a top talent. And I think he would come in at Arsenal and I think he would lit it up. Every time he came on, he looked something special. And I think he would do exactly the same at Arsenal. When you need a player for 15, 20 games, it doesn't mean they're going to go and get injured. So I would not worry about Pedro Neto's huge injury problems if he was a squad player. If we were trying to play him for 40 games a season, I wouldn't bother. Because if he's going to come in and be the 40 goals, no, it's not going to happen. Like 40 games is not what he's going to play. He never has been able to do that, so he's always got injuries. But for me, big fan. Big fan. So let's see if Arsenal are interested in that. Now let's talk about the outgoings, because there's going to be a few at Arsenal in the next few days. I honestly believe this week Arsenal will concentrate on trying to sell players and get them out of the club and negotiate prices. And the first one that looks to be out the door is, of course, Emerson Smith-Rowe. Now, the reason I say the first one is because he's not made any appearances in pre-season. He's not been a part of it. They've allowed him to try and sort out his future, which at the moment looks like it is set on Fulham. £35 million for Emerson Smith-Rowe is great money. And if we get that, I think we say good luck to him. Fair play. Thanks for the memories. You've been a great player. You've been really 100% committed. You absolutely love Arsenal. But I wish you all the best. And I mean that. I really do wish him the best at Fulham. I hope he gets a first team place. I hope he absolutely lights it up for Fulham. I actually really like Smith-Rowe and rate Smith-Rowe. And I think that if he got a run of games, it'd be a phenomenal signing for him. So I think Fulham, £35 million, that is good business for all round. They get a good player. First teamer, he gets first team football. Arsenal get a lot of money and they go and strengthen. Now, could Eze, who I mentioned earlier, come in and replace Smith-Rowe? I would love that. Do we stick with Fabio Vieira? Not my option, but Arteta seems to like him. Or do we promote Ethan Nwaneri from within and say, you are now our new Emil Smith-Rowe? Very impressive in pre-season. And if I'm honest with you, every time I've seen him, he looks a special talent. And I mentioned yesterday on the show how much I rate Ethan Nwaneri and how I believe he's going to go on to be a fantastic player. So that is a potential option for us. The other player who looks like he's on his way out is Reiss Nelson. Leicester looking at a loan with obligation to buy. They're trying to negotiate a fee, from what we understand, around about 15 to 20 million is the fee. Now, I think the loan with obligation's fine because of PSR. A lot of clubs are doing it. But what that does allow Arsenal to do is ask for a little bit more. Because we're basically saying, look, have him for a season and pass at the end. That, for me, means he's going to cost a bit more money. Now, I don't mean he's going to cost another 20 million. It means we'll probably be able to put a few £1 million more. Maybe we can put some add-ons on it. For me, I think Reiss Nelson would be a good signing for Leicester. And I think he's got a great opportunity for him here to go and get first-team football and nail down a place. I think he could easily be their left winger or right winger at Leicester. So that could be a good signing all round also. And what's good is that these sort of deals, they're good all round. There's not really any drama with them. They're quite easy. The price is the price. The player's the player. Everybody agrees. The player wants the club. The club wants the player. The club's happy for him to go. These work out quite well. So for me, Reiss Nelson going for that money would be absolutely fine. And the other player going for what I think will be quite good money is Eddie Nketiah. Now, we want 50 million euros, which works out around about 42 million. The reason we're talking about euros is because he's linked abroad with Marseille, who at the moment are looking at a lot of players under De Zerbi. Now, this would be a good move for all involved. I think Marseille get himself a striker they believe can score goals in Ligue 1. Eddie Nketiah gets first-team football with a big club, which is Marseille, which are usually going for Champions League and European football. And Arsenal get what I believe is an unbelievable amount of money. Now, we're not, in my opinion, going to get anywhere near 42 million, but I think we could try and push for 30 with some add-ons, push it to 35. I think that would be fair for Eddie Nketiah. I don't think he's a horrendously bad player, but I don't think he's good enough for Arsenal. Would he go to Marseille and score? I have no doubt. But I don't think that asking that much money is realistic, in my opinion. I think it would be a very brave move for Arsenal to be willing to hold out 50 million euros. I think we'll do well to get 35, if I'm honest with you. And I think we just need to let Eddie go, and then we can replace him. That is what we need to do, in my opinion. Now, if you're getting rid of Smith-Rowe for 35, Nelson for 20, and Eddie Nketiah for 35, you're pushing, towards 80, 90 million for 3 players who haven't really featured for Arsenal in the last 12 to 18 months very heavily. That's good money. We've got to be realistic about that and say that that would be a player that I would 100% sell in Eddie Nketiah. The other player up for grabs at the moment is Kiwior. We've spoken before about Jacob Kiwior, who is part of pre-season, but is definitely available. And it's interesting that both Nelson, Eddie, and Kiwior have all played minutes to kind of put them in the shop window, really. At the moment, Serie A clubs are linking and circling around Jacob Kiwior. I think the rumours reported around 20 to 25 million. Inter Milan favourites at the moment to sign Jacob Kiwior. I actually think he would be fine to stay at Arsenal as a squad player. The only reason I think that we're looking to sell him is because he's knocked on the door and said, I want first-team football, and they can't promise him that. particularly with the signing of Calafiori, I wouldn't have thought Kiwior was needed as much anymore. I think personally, it would be a player that we would potentially leave and not miss, but certainly a position that we could definitely keep. And what I mean by that is you might not miss Kiwior, but you might need a left-sided centre-back or a left-sided option as on top of Calafiori, because there's Gabriel and Calafiori, but you do have Timber, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, and Calafiori that can all play at left-back as well. So maybe Mikel Arteta just doesn't believe that he needs Kiwior anymore, and we try and get at least our money back, if not more, and wish him luck. So that could happen. And the last player that's linked with a move away from Arsenal is Aaron Ramsdale. And today, reports in The Sun are suggesting that Nottingham Forest are the latest clubs to put themselves forward for Aaron Ramsdale on a loan. Now, I don't know what that loan looks like. Does it look like an obligation? Does it look like an option? If it's an obligation to buy for 30 million, I would say yes to it. If it's not, I would not bother, because we need to be selling Aaron Ramsdale for a minimum of £30 million, because he was bought for 25 2 seasons ago from a relegated side. There's no way you can come to Arsenal, be in a title race for 2 years, and then be worth less. That's just mad. Absolutely mad. Yes, the Sun is not sounding very promising, but you have to read out what's happening. And as I say, this is not about reliability. This is about information and transfer news that we discuss. So for me, this is going to happen, I think, but I don't know what club. There was reports potentially of Southampton, Nottingham Forest are now coming to the mix. Wolves and Bournemouth were being interested at one stage. I think Brentford were actually looking at goalkeeper. So who's going to go? I don't know. Chelsea and Man City potentially ruled himself out. Newcastle, I don't think, want another goalkeeper after they've signed the one from Forest. And they've got, who have they got? They brought somebody else in now as well. Oh, they bought Ruddy in, I think, or someone like that, as a backup third choice. So I think they've got their goalkeepers now. Nick Pope is fit again. So I don't think Newcastle, who were the club I thought he was potentially going to go to, I don't think that Newcastle are going to look at Kieran Tierney or Aaron Ramsdale now. And I thought they might have signed both at one stage. And I thought they both would have been good signings for him. You know, if you can sign both of those for just under, £45 million, I would imagine, something like that, £40 million, then I don't think that's bad at all for two players who are experienced, that when fit are top quality in their position for Premier League players. And I think they could take a Premier League side forward. So let's see what happens. Kieran Tierney's still injured at the moment. Doesn't look like he's going to get a move at the moment. Depends how long he's out for and if he can actually get medicals passed. Obviously, we've sold some other players as well. But it doesn't look like any other players at Arsenal are looking to be outgoing other than Ramsdale and Tierney on top of the players mentioned. So that one could be interesting. So listen out for the Calafiori news. Looks like that one's going to be imminent. Then he comes over to pre-season tour in America. That will be a really good signing. Linked, obviously, with Merino. Once Smith-Rowe goes, it looks like we're going to push for him. Definitely keep an eye on the Nico Williams news, because where he goes and what rumours he has to be linked with is going to be definitely key for Arsenal, because that's a player that we like. Eze and Pedro Neto still being rumoured with Arsenal on and off. And Victor Gyokeres, the latest striker to be looked at by Arsenal. This could be an exciting window for Arsenal, people. It could be. There's links of a goalkeeper if Ramsdale goes. Calafiori's come in. Links with two midfielders that we definitely need. Links with a winger and links with a striker. Now, if that winger is Neto or Eze, and if that striker is Gyokeres, if one of our midfielders is Merino, Calafiori comes in, this is going to be a very good window for Arsenal, isn't it? But these are all rumours right now. We need to let it happen. We need to make it happen. For me, we need those 5 or 6 players coming in. And people are saying, well, we need this, we need that still. Yeah, look, we are linked with the right players. We are. I honestly believe the players we're linked with are the right positions we need. Linking with two midfielders, that's good. That's what we need. Linking with a winger, that's what we need. Link with a striker in Gyokeres, that's what we need. And obviously, Calafiori's coming on the left-hand side. And I think Arteta is trying to sort that left-hand side out. Being linked with Calafiori, Merino and Williams, they're all playing on the left-hand side. And that, for me, takes us to next level. Linked with Gyokeres, that's better than Eddie and Nketiah. That's an upgrade. And if you think our bench at the moment is Smith-Rowe, Nelson and Eddie, if our bench this coming season was Williams, Eze and Gyokeres, you would not be saying, that's nowhere near upgraded on the last 3 players. Of course it is. Of course they are. They're all massive upgrades. Yeah. So for me, personally, I would absolutely love to see Eze. I'd love to see Neto. I'd love to see Gyokeres. I think Merino would be a really good signing, solid signing. Nico Williams would be the dream, but I don't see that one happening. Fabian Ruiz being linked. Still reports or suggestions that Arsenal are looking more of a 6. Now, I don't know if Joshua Kimmich is an option. That would be phenomenal. João Neves is now gone, but more of an 8 anyway. Bruno Guimaraes doesn't look like it's happening. De Jong doesn't look like it's happening. We're not going to go and do a madness and get someone fantastic in the 6 like Barella, someone mad like that. So I think it's going to be more of a, I don't know. I think this transfer window is going to be more of a Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko type window, where you might get a couple of players of interest like Calafiori and maybe one more, but I don't think it's going to lit it up and be excited like we were with Declan Rice. I just don't think that's going to be an option. But if we was to get Kimmich, that would be a fantastic number 6. And I think that is a player who can play in multiple positions. He can play actually a little bit further forward as well, as we saw against Arsenal. But if we was to have Kimmich and Merino come in as our midfield, if we was to get Eze or Pedro Neto as a wide player, Gyokeres up top with Calafiori, I think that's been a very good summer window. Really good summer window. But that's the sort of window we need. We can't be dealing with just Merino coming in and Calafiori. We have to go further than that. That's not going to move the needle enough for me. So we need, personally, Manchester City to look at us and go, wow, that's phenomenal. Someone said Gyokeres would start. No, yes, absolutely, he would start. But my point was that was an upgrade on Eddie Nketiah. So probably on the bench, it would be Havertz or Jesus, I imagine. So for me, that would be a fantastic opportunity for Arsenal. So let's see what happens. Question I'm going to bring up from Man Like Sam, which says, why didn't Arsenal go for Fofana? We should have. I said we needed him. He's the perfect number 8. He's athletic. He's got physical attributes that I like in terms of his presence and how imposing he is. He's a perfect box-to-box player for aerial threats, both defensively and offensively. When he played for Monaco in the Emirates Cup last summer against Arsenal, I thought, I'm going to follow this guy. He looks phenomenal. And he's been brilliant. And it'll be cheap. It'll be easy. But Mikel Merino is the guy that we want. It is not Yusuf Fofana, which is a shame, to be honest. I'm going to mention this. Dan, what happened to the mystery German? I don't think that was ever true. I just don't think that was ever true. I struggle to believe that is the case. And I mean, maybe it could be Joshua Kimmich. Maybe. But I don't think it is. It's definitely not Musiala or Florian Wirtz or Leroy Sané or Serge Gnabry. It's definitely not one of them. I don't think it's a centre-half like Jonathan Tah or someone like that. I would imagine if I had to take a punt that it would be Joshua Kimmich. Maybe one on outside, thinking outside the box, Leroy Sané. But I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Listen, we're going to leave it there, people. Do me a favour. Make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you hit the like button. How many likes have we got at the moment? We currently have 467 of you in. We have 164 likes. Please, let's get that up to 250 likes, people. Want to make sure that we get at least that. That would be amazing. Want to try and hit 500 in total. So please make sure we get that on the way. I want you to do me a favour. Once you've hit like and subscribe, which will then get us closer to 30k, I want you to click on the pinned comment, which will take you through to the Manscaped website. Go on to Beard and Face, select the Beard Hedger, add it to your cart, and you will see automatically 20% comes off. So make sure that you get this deal because it's not there for very long, people. Sort yourself out some beard trimmers. We'll see you next time. I'll be back a little bit later on. Got a show tonight, so please make sure that we are around for that one. And we will see you next time, people. Take it easy.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back. But this time, it's not for below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.